The intentional creation assessment employs the formal science of axiological mathematics. Using this mathematics, we're able to measure with great accuracy how a person thinks. Not what they think, but how they think. Why is this so important? Because our thoughts impact every facet of our life, our emotional state, the decisions we make, the actions we take, the results we create. If we don't like what's happening, this is the place we're going to want to look. And the most common response we get, how do you know that? It's like you're inside my head. Well, we are. We're measuring the very thought processes we spend all of our day thinking. And we can finally identify them, which ones are supporting you and which ones may be sabotaging your thought processes. And then we're able to provide principles, practices, and processes to assist you in maximizing the strengths and jettisoning any of those unhealthy habits of thinking. How is this possible? Well, the assessment measures all three dimensions of thought: intrinsic, extrinsic, and systemic. Intrinsic thought, these are the thoughts we have about ourselves or about other people, things that are beyond value. Extrinsic thought, thoughts we have about tasks and things, anything that's tangible, comparable, contrastable. Systemic thought is about things that exist only in our mind, ideas, impressions, opinions, structure, discipline, rules, policies, procedures, things that exist only in our mind. Intrinsic, extrinsic, and systemic. Now, using axiological mathematics, we can go even deeper into each one of those dimensions and value each one of them by and devalue them by the other three. For an example, let's take people. Here we have a person. We can value that intrinsic concept, that human being, intrinsically for its pricelessness, its uniqueness. We can also value that intrinsic concept extrinsically, based on its accomplishments, appearance, performance. We can also value that intrinsic concept systemically, based on its beliefs, its ideas, its opinions. We can also devalue that intrinsic concept, that human being, by its belief systems that could be harmful or maybe even dangerous. We could devalue that intrinsic concept, that person, extrinsically, based on poor performance or inappropriate behavior. And we could intrinsically devalue that intrinsic concept based on its suffering, its pain, that maybe we're causing or allowing to continue. So we value it intrinsically, extrinsically, systemically, devalue it systemically, extrinsically, intrinsically. 6 measurements for intrinsic concepts. The same is true for extrinsic concepts. The same is true for systemic concepts. 6 ways for each one of them. Total is 18. 18 is an important number for you to remember. This is all about mathematics. So how do we go from intrinsic, extrinsic, systemic to mathematics? Axiological mathematics is based on a concept called properties. That which has the highest number of properties is the most valuable. If we're valuing dollar bills, this person has 100, this person has 5. This person's $100 is worth more than $5, just for an example. This allows us to measure the properties in an intrinsic concept, an extrinsic concept, and a systemic concept. Now we turn to Galileo and then to Cantor. Cantor's transfinite calculus. He was like the cleanup hitter. He put it all together. He said to understand this intrinsic, extrinsic, systemic dimension, we have to introduce the concept of infinitudes. Something that is infinite, not just finite, but infinite. Something that is beyond value is infinite. he introduced a symbol. It's the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet. It's called an aleph. And he identified that there are two kinds of infinitudes. There's an aleph index 1, which is a non-denumerable infinite. That's a human being. A human being is a human being. You can have a human being lose their legs, lose their arms, and they're still a human being. Any part is equal to the whole. It's a concept our finite mind sometimes has difficulty grasping. But it's an aleph index 1, a non-denumerable infinite. That's an intrinsic concept. Extrinsic concept is an aleph index 0, a denumerable infinite. If we take all the even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, how far can we go? We can go into infinity. Yet each number, in and of itself, can be pulled out, extracted, and examined for its individual value. That's an infinite that is denumerable. That's an extrinsic concept. A systemic concept is a singular concept. It either is or it is not. All or nothing, win or lose, life or death. That's a systemic concept. We use the letter n, small n, mathematically, to designate a singular concept. Now we have a mathematical symbol that denotes the number of properties in an intrinsic, extrinsic, and systemic concept. Now we can apply it to those little fine hairs, those divisions. An intrinsic concept valued intrinsically, the uniqueness and pricelessness of a person, mathematically, aleph index 1 to the power of an aleph index 1. If we're valuing that intrinsic concept based on outward appearance, possessions, performance, aleph index 1 to the power of an aleph index 0. When we assign the math to all 18 mathematical measurements, now we have the ability to create a hierarchy. Which one has the most number of properties, and the next most, and the next most, and the next most. And we create a hierarchy that's 18 levels deep. Totally objective, totally based on mathematics. It's not based on normative opinion. It's not subjective. It is totally objective. Next challenge. Robert S. Hartman, who is the father of axiological mathematics at the University of Tennessee, was able to identify words or phrases for each one of those 18 levels. Then he passed them through the EEOC for certification for cross-gender, race, religion, and for variances to make sure that those were the words or phrases. PhD studies are available for review if you'd like to. Now we have a hierarchy, and we have words. Now we can do something that's nearly magical. We can mix up the words, hand them to a person, and say, put them in the order in which you think they should be in, based on the most valuable, least valuable. And the way in which we rank them reveals the way in which we think about those mathematical levels in the hierarchy. If we're over-focused in an area or under-focused in an area, what kind of risks are present? Well, Hartman created the Hartman value profile. Those are the words or phrases. Intrinsic, extrinsic, systemic thought. The Mandino group has done years and years of research to identify what are the risks when any one of those thought processes is over or under focused, and the extent to which it is over or under focused. When you take the assessment, the presentation, proprietary to the intentional creation assessment. Click on any measurement, and we will give you the most common risks associated with your unique thought process in all of those 18 areas, both externally, people, tasks, and structure, and internally, yourself, your life, and the vision you have for your life. And you'll be able to determine where your thought processes will support you and where your thought processes may want to sabotage your life. Now, I want to emphasize, these are just thoughts. You're not your thoughts. You're metacognitive. You're beyond thought. You can step back and reflect on your own thinking. But Og said it this way: there are times when I surrender my free will to those years of accumulated habits, and the past deeds of my life have already marked out a path which threatens to imprison my future. We do some crazy things when we surrender to some of these thought processes. Well, it is so exciting to finally be able to get below the surface of personality and behavior and get to the thought processes that are driving all of that. But to know where they are allows us to target with laser accuracy training that can serve you at the highest possible level. No warm and fuzzy blanket here. Now, we use this technology in 3 different areas. Number 1, with an individual. A person can take the assessment, review the results. We provide enormous amounts of information when they take the assessment. They can then choose to work with a coach and go even deeper into that assessment to start to see the relationships. Okay, that's the measurement. Here's one over here. How does that impact that one? How does that one impact that one that impacts this one? That's what a trained coach can do for you. And then assist you in getting into a home study program, or getting into a small group, or coaching one-on-one to take on those thought processes and to become the very best person that you can become. That's the first program. The second use of this technology we call Team DNA. We have all the members of a team take an assessment, and we crunch it into one report. That report can tell us common strengths and common challenges. Imagine looking out of an audience. An audience could be 100 people, could be 3,000 people. And we know how they think. Our words are specifically designed to go deep into their heart, to inspire them to take on these challenges and to maximize their strengths. It's targeted. An organization could take this information and create a training program specifically designed to maximize strengths and challenges collectively as a group to move the entire organization forward faster and more efficiently and cost-effectively. Third area we use this technology is called Interview IC. If you interview people for a position, employment position, you'll want to use Interview IC. The clients who do say, I will never hire another person ever again without using this tool. We have the candidate take the assessment, we provide you with the results, and we provide you with the interview questions that take you right into the heart of the issue. When a candidate's interviewing, they're showing up on their best behavior. They should. The question is it sustainable? 3 months from now, 6 months from now, what's going to show up? The assessment will reveal that and allow you to go into that space with the client. And you can determine, can I manage this? I really like this person, but these 2 things could be a challenge. Let's get them lined up with an intentional creation coach, and let's knock the edges off those rough pieces so I've got the very best candidate possible to get the very best outcome for the company. So individually, a team DNA, and an interview process. We are so excited here at the Og Mandino Leadership Institute to provide you with this tool. Measurement, then targeted development, and exciting results. The Og Mandino Leadership Institute, the Intentional Creation Assessment.